New tonight for local historians and cemetery curators. They are working together to try to bring a name back to life. Laura Sandlin has the story behind what is missing at Forest Cemetery.
Well, Jeff, her name was Julia King, maiden name Julia Ward. And after Julia's death in 1938, there was no one left to ensure her name was inscribed on her headstone. Now, the cemetery is wanting to make sure this woman is not lost to history. In the late 1800s, Albert King married Julia Ward. Together, they moved to Toledo where they had one daughter named Doris.
So if you look at this particular headstone, you'll see the name Albert King inscribed on it, but what you don't see is his wife, Julia Ward. Albert King was the first African-American Toledo police officer here in the city, and unfortunately, after he passed away, there was no one left to get Julia's name inscribed on the monument that you see.
Robin Haig is the curator of the Forest Cemetery. She says Julia was Toledo's first black juvenile probate officer, and despite the King's success, they continued to face backlash.
I think it's really important that we bring their story to light to Toledans so they understand what the climate was like back then.
In the early 1800s, there were very few black people in the state of Ohio, actually. I think the 1800 number was around 337.
Janet Rhodes, local historian at the Toledo Lucas County Public Library, says it's not uncommon for black history, including names, to be lost to time.
That speaks a lot to just how spotty black history is in general. There were a lot of barriers in place for black people to record their history. I mean, we weren't allowed to read and write for a really long time.
Now, Rhodes wants to see change.
Remembering black history is so important. It's so essential. Especially at a time when it is being removed from public institutions and not being taught. We have to understand what our history is in order to make progress.
Hage says they want to raise the money to have Julia's name put on the headstone, ensuring she's not lost to time.
Well, I think every life has value and everyone has a story to tell, and it's very important that we perpetuate Julia's memory by having her name inscribed on this monument so she is not forgotten over time.
Donations for Julia's name can be mailed or dropped off at the Forest Cemetery, and they have to include the name of her on the donation or check. Reporting in studio, Laura Sandlin, WTOL 11.